Welcome back, everyone. In a recent video, we were reminded that the Quran allows Muslim men to discipline their wives, up to and including beating them. Surah 4:34 states, "As for those women whom you fear may be rebellious, admonish them, avoid them in bed, and finally strike them." Many of you were struck by this verse and left some great comments. Let's check some of them out. First of all, on the translation, finally strike them, it does not say strike. It says beat them. When will the lying stop? This verse isn't just great because it illustrates the amazingness of Islamic law. It's also great because it shows us how Muslims love adding to Allah's perfect, miraculous word, in parentheses, of course. So here are some different translations. Pickthall says, scourge them. Sahih International surprisingly says, strike them. And Shakir says, beat them. And Halalian Khan is my favorite translation, beat them lightly if it is useful. Regardless of the pathetic attempts of some translators, the problem is that in the Quran, this verb is associated with force. Moses struck the rock with a staff, and in Surah 8, the believers strike the necks and fingertips. I'm not saying that Surah 4 tells Muslim men to cut off their wives' heads and fingers. What I am saying is that this word is associated with force. It's far from innocuous. Now, if you think that this is harmful to women, just wait a second. Back up. Maududi, in his commentary, has some advice for you. As to the beating, the unholy prophet allowed it. Actually, Allah allowed it in the Quran. Maybe that's just a Freudian slip. Allowed it very reluctantly, and even then did not like it. That reminds me, earlier today I robbed a convenience store and laid the smack down on someone who tried to stop me. However, I did so reluctantly, and I did not like it, which I think makes me virtuous, maybe even holy. But the fact is, are you ready for some facts from a Muslim authority? It's like getting facts from a politician. But the fact is that there are certain women who do not mend their ways without a beating. Just to clarify, this stuff is repulsive, but humor is appropriate since the holy, sacred law of Allah and Muhammad is a joke. I just wanted to clarify that because I feared misunderstanding. And just like that, I set us up for the next comment. Just to briefly review Surah 4:34, as for those women whom you fear may be rebellious. Dilly says, based on my own conduct in relationships, the thing that has always struck me, insert sound effect, is the fear aspect and the rebelliousness. It is such a subjective term, and the worse I have been in my conduct in relationships, the more fearful I am. This means a woman can get a beating, insert sound effect, where she has done no wrong whatsoever. And the husband is totally paranoid because he is following Muhammad's conduct and lusting after other women, and thus ascribing his dodgy thought processes to his wife. Muslims will protest, no, to fear in this context means to know. It's not that you fear your wife's rebellion, but you know her rebellion because of things that she has actually done. To this, J. Diaz would respond with some examples of rebellion from the Reliance of the Traveler, a truly sacred manual of Islamic law and one of my personal favorites. Signs of rebellion include answering the husband coldly when she used to do so politely, refusing to come to bed, or being averse to him when she was previously kind and cheerful. If she commits rebelliousness, she is on the path to the old slapperoo. It's permissible for him to hit her if he believes that hitting her will bring her back to the right path. And here's some more from that same manual of garbage Islamic law. A man may beat his rebellious wife as long as he does not break any bones or cause blood to flow. He may hit her once, or more than once. By the way, aren't those the only two options, like once or more than once? And rebellion can be defined as not fulfilling one of the above-mentioned obligations, which is a whole bunch of stuff. And of course, at the top of the list would be the husband not being allowed lawful sexual enjoyment of her person. Or, of course, leaving the house without permission. So when it comes down to the husband knowing or fearing rebellion, turns out he can do just about whatever he wants. And as an added bit of wife-beating insurance, a man cannot be asked why he beat his wife. Now, don't forget that in Islamic law, when men have acted poorly and they want to separate from their wives, that they get to take something from them. To this effect, the astronomer shares this lovely hadith about a man who apparently beat his wife severely. Muhammad said the wife-beater should take some of his soon-to-be ex-wife's property and part ways. Since all husbands can beat their wives, I guess she was supposed to look for a husband who would beat her less. Happy ending for both. Also, J. Diaz, whose comment we saw earlier, reminds us that Muslim authorities advise Muslim men on where to hang their whips in a place where your wives can see it. And the rest of this comment talks about someone so important, he needs a proper introduction.
who is known for his bravery, a man who is unmatched when it comes to his firm decisions. And he accompanied the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with loyalty and dedication and love. When it came to the battles, he was with him in every battle. Who is this? Az-Zubayr ibn Awam.
Yeah, that guy's fourth wife said he beat her so hard that he would break the stick. This is actually documented by some very prominent Muslim scholars, but of course Muslims will deny that report's authenticity. I guess breaking the rod is where they draw the line. It's like, don't break any bones, don't break the whipping stick. Like, don't set the bar too high, Muslims. And finally, J. Diaz does it again by citing Surah 38. As you all know, the Quran distorts the biblical prophets into Muslim prophets. In the case of Job, this requires turning him into a wife-beating husband in line with the Quran. But why did Job beat his wife? The fact is that there are certain women who do not mend their ways without a beating. The Quran, the commentaries, the hadith, sacred Islamic law, all written by degenerates for degenerates. Don't be a degenerate. Thanks for your comments, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.